In this section, we're going to talk about VMware Cloud on AWS. So starting off with day 0, when it comes to VMC on AWS, we're going to focus on things like inventory collection and visualization, application discovery, dependency and operation, network and flow visibility, along with security planning and PCI compliance. When it comes to day 2, we're going to focus on auditing, analytics, and events and troubleshooting within our VMC on AWS environment. Now, VMC and AWS keeps innovating to bring more capabilities to the network stack. Adding Sddc Groups and a virtual transit gateway in between is putting together a lot of moving parts, and it's very simply displayed in the VMC console. But when things go wrong, you need to be able to troubleshoot the network, and that's where vRealize Network Insight comes in. Here's an overview of the connections. Between the outgoing connection, we can see our Direct Connect or Direct Connect gateway. We can also see our VMC on AWS environment, where we've got our organization and our Sddc groups that are running, our virtual transit gateways, and then we can also see our AWS VPCs. Now, within our VMC on AWS environment, we want to focus on how we're going to be able to support that environment. First thing we're going to focus on is Sddc groups. So this is going to include dashboards focusing on the Sddc, the virtual transit gateways, the edges, the apps, the VMs, the Direct Connect, the VPC attachments, and much more. We're then going to talk about VMware Transit Gateway. So this is going to provide dashboard with the connected Sddc, VPC, and DXGW attachments. We'll be able to see routing tables and the different types of traffic. Then we're going to look at Traffic Insight. So this is now going to provide us with flow types via the transit gateway. We're also going to be able to see things like SDDC to SDDC, SDDC to VPC, and VPC to SDDC when it comes to flows. We're also going to be able to see any flow tags, transit gateway, VMC SDDC group, and as an example, we could do a query saying something like flows where the transit gateway equals X, and we're going to see those flows. And then we have network utilization. So this is going to allow us to elaborate more on top talker information within our SDDC. We're also going to get a glance into our per VM packets per second and bytes per second. As an example, we'll see the average and the max of the 95th percentile within our VMC and AWS environment. Let's take a look at our deployment options when it comes to VMC on AWS and vRealize Network Insight. So option 1, which is our preferred way of deploying within vRealize Network Insight and VMC on AWS, is going to be looking at the following configuration. So basically what we're doing here is we utilize vRealize Network Insight Cloud or vRealize Network Insight Universal because it is already hosted within the VMware infrastructure, the cloud infrastructure. We can keep everything within the cloud and automatically connect the collector to the VMC on AWS environment. So it's one-way communication utilizing HTTPS. We can also configure the HTTPS polling, and then we can also get the flows using UDP 2055 coming from our environment. And you can see we've got our management and our compute infrastructure. So this is our preferred environment. The only thing that we have to do is go into NSX and configure the rules for the collector to be able to reach the VMC on AWS environment, specifically for port 443 and UDP 2055 for our incoming IPFix flows from the NSX environment and the virtual distributed switches running in our VMC on AWS environment. Now, option 2, when it comes to deploying vRealize Network Insight and VMC on AWS, is running Network Insight on premises. So here we have our on-premises deployment of vRealize Network Insight. We have our vRealize Network Insight platform, and then you can see we have our connectivity, which can be done via Direct Connect or VPN. And then we can see our vRNI collector running in our VMC on AWS environment. So our platform is within our data center. The collector is being deployed within the VMC on AWS environment. Now, also, when we look at this, the collector is going to be pulling the management components within the VMC and AWS environment utilizing port 443. And we're also going to be ingesting those incoming flows on UDP 2055. So this is now taking the data from the collector, and keep in mind the collector is doing all the deduplication, the aggregation, and so on, and then passing the metadata over the VPN or direct connect to our vRealize Network Insight platform deployed in our on-premises environment. So this is option 2 when it comes to deploying within vRealize Network Insight and VMC on AWS. And again, the communication over the VPN and the direct connect from the collector to the platform is only one-way communication, as you can see indicated by the arrow here of that metadata. So there is a massive reduction of the amount of data that is being sent over this connection because the collector, again, is doing that deduplication and aggregation and then only providing the metadata back to the platform. So this would be for, let's say, an existing vRealize Network Insight customer that might already be monitoring their on-premises data center with an on-premises deployment of vRealize Network Insight. And then it also could be where you have multiple VMC environments deployed. Now, also, you need to keep in mind that you also do need to configure the firewall rules, again, because NSXT is running in the overlay infrastructure within the VMC and AWS environment. So we do need to make sure that we have the proper firewall rules configured to allow HTTPS access and UDP 2055 access between our collector and our platform.